All right, can everybody see my screen?
Hell yeah.
All right, cool. So basically, we just gonna go over some stuff today. Basically, getting ready for the week. So as you can see, this is basically my charts now. Like I use lines. That's basically it. Just marking up my liquidity because I'm starting to get to the point where I'm realizing that like the market is literally liquidity. Like it doesn't matter what you're trading. You can trade technical analysis. You can trade smart money concepts. That really doesn't matter at the end of the day because what the market is doing is it's a scale. You have your top part of your scale, and then you have your bottom part of your scale. That's all it is, and it's moving up and down, taking liquidity from each side of basically your scale. So I've kind of refined in a way now. So when I start off marking my charts, this is what I do. I go to my monthly first. So seeing my monthly, I'm looking at the candlestick that we're on, always looking at the candlestick that we're on. So I mark my monthly high and my monthly low. So I understand that range. I get on my weekly and I do the same thing. So here's my weekly low and my weekly high just happens to be the same as my monthly high. I don't need to change that. So then after that, I can hop on my 4 hour and start looking for setups and understanding where the trend is. So from this 4 hour perspective, we can see we kind of had this bullish push over here to the left side, and now we're kind of moving stagnant. We're moving up and down. So let me get on here real quick. Okay. So let's look at our daily. On our daily, we rejected off of this monthly low level and we clearly traded away from it. And as you can see here from the daily perspective, from around what is this? It started in May 17th. So May 17th started consolidation. After that consolidation ended on June 14th, we saw the drop off in price action. So we know overall as a whole, what we're looking at, we're in a downtrend right now. So now understanding that we are in this downtrend, what have we done on this 4 hour perspective? Okay. So overall downtrend, 4 hour perspective, tapped off of this low, and now we're rejecting this level. So given that this is the 4 hour time frame, I'm kind of looking for price action to probably pull back a little bit. I do know we are in this overall downtrend as of right now, but from the 4 hour perspective, this was last week from the 20th or from July 20th, we've had a rally up. So looking at price action here, I understand that although I have this monthly low marked up, this is just my range of liquidity. So I know my top level monthly to my bottom level monthly, but since my weekly level, we obviously can see we rejected multiple times off of this. And it's basically the same thing as my liquidity zones. I'm just not drawing them in because again, I'm just trying to see more clear price action. So even if we scroll out, we can see over here, this level here, which happened to be the weekly low, was a huge point of rejection before price action took off in the past. And then a huge point of rejection here that price traded below and then clearly respected here before taking off to the upside. So I'm looking at GU as probably bullish going into this week. I can definitely see a pullback happening given that we did have this rally up here. Let's see. So we've already filled this area here. Up on a 4 hour real quick. Let me see what the fib is talking about. All right, so our 61.8% zone on my fib is right here at this weekly low level. So I'm not entirely sure that we will trade back into here because if we trade back into the 61.8% zone, I'm going to most likely think that we're just consolidating in between this range. So I'll be looking to probably just take quick scalps up and down and throughout this range. I would mostly be looking for it to trade into this 38.2% level and this 50% level, somewhere in between this zone here. Only because, again, if we trade down here, this is a zone that we rejected off of multiple times in the past, and we had this consolidation in. So I don't want to see it come that low if we are still in this actual bullish structure rather than a consolidation structure. So what I would most likely like to see, again, like I said, a pullback to around this area and then probably take off to 1.40 was my main target. But again, if we are looking at true bull pattern, then we could probably go past 1.40 and probably come up to this next level of liquidity here at, what is that, 1.4100 before seeing maybe a rejection to the downside. But again, the DXY is a huge influence as to how GU moves. So we come and look at the DXY real quick. Do the exact same analysis as we did on GU. We can see on this monthly time frame, monthly low and monthly high. There's our range. Weekly time frame, weekly high, and our weekly low happens to be our monthly low as well. We don't have to mark that up. Now let's see what structure did. Okay, so we can see that down here, structure was held in this bottom level zone before taking out. And this is a weekly time frame. So we've kind of traded away from this area as a whole. We saw this huge spike last week, and then we saw this pullback on the as a whole for the weekly last week. So if we hop on our 4 hour real quick. Okay, so we had a little bit of consolidation that we can see over here before price took off to the bulls right at our monthly low level. But overall, we can see bullish structure happening for it. So I'm kind of mixed on what the DXY will do this week. We can probably we might be able to see it actually start to rally up, but if it rallies up, I want to see the open start to rally automatically. I want to see us once we open before London session hits in the morning, I want to see us close above this high, because again, if we're going to be bullish, I want to see us actually breaking structure to make us bullish. This is the 4 hour time frame, and we see as a whole it's bullish, but last week we see this clear downwards move from the 22nd all the way down to the 30th. So we're starting to shift to the downwards bias. There is a lot of news this week. We can check Forex Factory right quick. So we do have quite a bit of news this week. So ISMs on USD. I know we have NFPs on Friday. That's like the main thing. So again, the DXY might not move throughout the week until like Wednesday, Thursday leading up to news, because I have seen it do that in the past. But we have non-farm exchange. This is on Wednesday. So we do have some clear opportunities. Oh, and monetary policy for GBP. So yeah, again, like I said, Wednesday, Thursday will probably be the main like movements that we'll see for this leading into NFP news. But as of right now, I'm kind of in an on an undecided bias as far as the DXY. If we do close above the high, like I said, then I will be looking at the dollar being bullish. So I'll be most likely taking sells through here. But again, with how market structure is holding for GU and how the DXY is looking, we're most likely going to start becoming bearish just to probably retest this previous liquidity over here before probably taking off to the upside. So we can hop on EU real quick. All right, same thing for EU. All right, so we have our monthly high and we have our monthly low down here, which is also labeled as our weekly low. Or yeah. So monthly low. So we have our monthly high and then our monthly low is below this. But when I scale down to my weekly, our weekly low is just above that high. So I would rather use that weekly low because it is a better level of liquidity to use, given that we can clearly see the rejections in price action off of this level. So EU as a whole, so we have this bearish spike to the downside. We know that we're looking bears. Hop on my daily real quick. Okay, so we had this pullback, and then last week on the 26th, so towards the end of last week, we had this bullish spike to the upside that also happened to break these highs here. So understanding that we did break those highs and understanding how GU and EU are basically confluenced with each other, I'm practically looking for the same thing when it comes down to EU. Let's go in 4 hours so I can draw the fib. All right, so with EU, this bottom level, get this top level. EU, okay, the 61.8% for EU is an actual valid zone here. As we can see in price action, it's a level of liquidity here. And also, we hop on different time frame. So as we can see here with this wick that happened from FOMC last week, this wick completely took out all this previous liquidity over here. It took out this order block, and it also took out the liquidity from this level here that rallied us to the upside. So understanding that, if we start to break lows and create lower structure, I know that we're kind of automatically come to the downside just because this has showed us that liquidity was already taken down here. So if we're starting to pull to the downside, we're going to take out all of these lows, and we're probably going to end up just trading lower, probably to this previous low over here at around 1.1700. But the most logical thing for us to think about, and what we're seeing in price action, we can see that this 61.8% zone is actually in a key spot for retracement. So we label this right quick, delete this. this is my main zone that I'm most likely looking for us to try and retrace into before taking off to the upside next week. Yeah, this is a perfect level of imbalance right above where this previous wick took out all the previous level of liquidity. I think this is a perfect zone to be looking at, somewhere in and around this area, for price to actually take off in the upcoming week. Again, if the DXY gives us differently, if the DXY goes bullish, then everything, all of this would change, and we would just flip it to downside, to looking for downside sells and things like that. But as of right now, with how the DXY is looking, I'm bullish on EU and GU, just looking for it to probably retrace around Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday, once we start getting that huge GBP news incoming, I expect us to most likely reverse and go bullish. Can look at gold right quick. So gold's a little different. Gold's been kind of tricky lately. So we got our monthly low and our monthly high is marked here. If we hop onto our weekly low, and again, the weekly high lines up with the monthly high, so we don't have to change that. So if we look at this daily chart here, okay, so from here we pulled the downside, we pulled up, we held this level down here, and we made it bullish, and then we had a little pullback to where now we look to be implementing bullish pattern again. The only thing I am looking at though is we closed with a daily level order block here that also took out this equal high. So with gold, it's two things that can happen. So let's go to our 1 hour real quick to see it better. So we understand the overall structure of gold. We had that huge bullish push and then that pullback that we just saw. So once we look at a lower time frame, we see from, when is this? July 6th. So from July 6th to now, we've been consolidating in between this weekly low and monthly high level. We've just been in and around this area. So for me, I would kind of wait on gold. Just me personally, I'm probably not going to trade it until I see, for one, either a break of this low or a break of this high, because once we get that break, it's going to show us like clearly where it wants to go. If we break this low, then we're most likely coming down to these 1770, 1760 levels, where where previous liquidity obviously lies. You can see nothing but clear candles, nothing has retraced here. So we could probably see it come down into there. If we close above this high, then obviously, as we just saw on the higher time frame, bullish push into a pullback, which will most likely take us right back to another bullish push, taking out these highs, probably at the 1900 level, and maybe depending on how much bullish pressure we have going into the end of the year, we could potentially see us come up to 1940s and take out this liquidity over here. So I'm really on the sidelines for gold as of right now. I kind of want to see a clear break to either side to get out of this whole consolidation zone in order to see clear price action. You can, of course, trade it in between here, but with the other pairs that I'm looking at, I'd rather just play it safe and not trade this until we see like a clear break instruction. So those are the main pairs for this week. I can go over indices, but indices are a lot different. These are, for indices, I don't really like to pre-mark that much because, again, things happen so fast that your mark can really mean nothing. But with indices, we do see we've had this huge, this continuous bullish push on the higher time frame, on this daily time frame. And with indices, I go a little bit differently. I go by thousands. So each of my marks, 33,000, 34,000, 35,000, and 35 and 36,000. So this is the 1,000 level range that we're in right now. And so this is the levels that I'm trading for it to go to. As you can see, what did it do? Once it got to 35,000, traded below, came up, and we're pushing our way back up to 35,000. Then we come back below into the 34,000 range, trading into the 33,000 range, and then going all the way back up to 35,000. So we can clearly see that these are the ranges that it trades in. Once we look lower, we have been in this consolidation since the 22nd. So we're probably either going to do two things. I'm waiting for a break to the either side. If we break this low here, we're most likely going to come back to 34,000, retesting this past level liquidity, maybe even coming lower, mitigating this order block before taking us up to higher price action. Or if we break the top level liquidity, then I can most likely see us trading into 36,000, because again, that's basically how US 30 moves in huge ranges. And that would be our next target of liquidity if we do start going bullish again. We look at NAS real quick, weekly. All right, so NAS, same thing. Except I go by the 500. So 14,500, 15,000, and 15,500. We can obviously see this is the range that we're trading in the higher price action. We know that it's an indice, always bullish for the most part. So let's hop on this lower time frame. Once we hop on this 4 hour, we can see that we have held this level of liquidity, but we are in this kind of downward structure, as we can see here. You can see it starting to move to this downward structure. We're creating lows. There's our huge order block followed by this huge bank candle that got tested back into, creating this low here, already respecting the level of liquidity that lied up in this area. And then it traded to the downside. So now last week we did hold this level here. So again, I have a two-sided bias for NAS as well. We can either break this high of 15,000. Once we break this high, I'll probably be looking to take it up to this high here, just the equal high, and then see what it wants to do from there. If it wants to break the high, retest the high and then go, or if it wants to just completely reject and come back to the downside. And I'm also looking at it to test off of this level, because again, if we test off of this level, then it would be mitigating our order block completely. And then us trading back to the downside, looking at 14,500 as our main target before seeing any reversals. So those are the main pairs for this week. Is there anything that y'all want me to go over?
Can you look at Euro JPY?
Yeah, gotcha. All righty, EJ.
I don't know why I like this pair, but I'd be losing.
I feel you. I feel you. Do you trade USD JPY too?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're exactly confluent with each other. Same exact pair.
Yeah, I like it.
So we got our month high and our month low. Hop on our weekly high and our weekly low. And we know, let's get on the daily for price action. Okay. Okay, cool. So we had this huge bullish spike here. As you can see, had this huge bullish spike to the upside. And now we pulled back to this exact liquidity level of that monthly low that we've tested off of. So we know that with that rejection, we are overall still downside biased. But if we do start to break highs, I can see us obviously trading higher, because that would just be a retracement from this huge bullish push that we previously saw. So what happened last week? So from the 21st to now, we've kind of been consolidating in between this weekly high and weekly low range. So really I'm mostly, so 4 hour, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, cool. So take this low here. To be honest, you could be looking for an impulsive sell here to the downside. We do see us moving up and we do see us creating these higher highs here. But again, all we're doing is reacting off of what our downside structure is already showing us. So we know that we're starting to pull to the downside. We are making these lows and we did react off of this level. But once we
it hasn't broken any structure really to the left side, huh?
And yes, correct. And as you can see here, these highs, so we broke this level of liquidity here with a wick. And then we broke it completely, but then traded right back down below it, just taking out liquidity before moving back to the upside. So these highs, although we are making this kind of higher structure here, it's not as much respected as what we're making with the lows. Structure, lower structure wick, taking out complete liquidity before what we do, take off to the bear side. Then we created another lower structure that got retested and completely taken to the downside. So mostly what I'm looking at is probably sells this week, to be honest. We did respect this level of liquidity. If we break this low, what I would mostly want to see is us break this low between Asia and London session of this opening week. If we can break this low instead of consolidate in between this area, then I would be fine with taking an impulsive sell and first targeting these equal low levels, and then second targeting this bottom level of liquidity down through there.
Okay.
And then from there, I probably just sit out until we start to show where we want to go. Because if we break this low, we're coming down to 125.
Hell yeah.
Because that would be a full on, yeah. We definitely come down to 125. Because we would have full on structure being formed. Liquidity held here that was taken out by a previous bullish push that had no, taking out previous highs over here. And then exact replica of price action, we would be coming all the way back down to this low here of 125.
Hell yeah.
So there is EJ. Check EJ real quick because again, literally the same pair. Monthly, weekly, we already know, we've already been over that. So from the 4 hour, we can see that we are, when is this from? From July 1st, we're starting to make this downward structure now. And we did hold this level of liquidity that we tried to retrace back into to break to the bull side. So sellers are definitely in control with this. We have double bottomed here, but again, although we did double bottom, we created structure and we closed with a bearish candle to the downside, not breaking lows, but still a bearish candle to the downside. So I can either see us starting this week just wanting to collect liquidity lower before retracing maybe back up to this weekly high and dropping, or I can see us starting the week by retracing back into this level of liquidity. If we hop on a different time frame, hop on this out. Or actually, hold on. No, I think we're definitely coming to the downside. So with this wick was FOMC news. So with FOMC, we took out this previous order block and all of the liquidity that rested in between here. And with these low structures being formed, although we did reject it, this wick here took all this previous liquidity out here. So if we do start breaking to the upside and we break this high here, then I'll probably be looking for reversal buys because price action is clearly showing me that we've already taken liquidity from this upside. So if we do start to break highs and make new highs, then we're most likely headed to this weekly high to either grab this liquidity and continue our uptrend, or headed to this weekly high to reverse back down to this weekly low and continue our downward structure that we are looking at. So yeah, that's UJ. Any other pair? All good.
You be trading odd pairs?
I mean, I look at them sometimes. I don't really. This is kind of my watch list that I stick on. I do venture out and trade other things if I get bored. I mean, it's the same price action, but I can look at it if you want me to.
Yeah, no, it was just a question. I don't be trading that shit either. I stick to like EJ, UJ, GU. I don't really trade indices either. I'm too scared of that shit.
I just retired AU. I don't even know. I just don't like it. I just don't like it. It always seems to me like I'm always either bearish on AUD and USD at the same time, or I'm bullish on them at the same time. So I've always found it hard to trade. Plus, we really just started moving. From June 16th is the first time we've been seeing actual movement from AU. We hop over here from April to June consolidation. We hop over here. Same thing. We had this bullish spike, but I'm not gonna count this. So February to March with one bullish spike that we actually had liquidity in. So it's really those odd pairs. I don't find too fond.
Yeah.
And GJ, oh, I hate GJ.
Yeah, I used to think I was good at GJ, but I found out I was better at other stuff.
Oh, I cannot stand GJ. But yeah, that basically wraps everything up for today. If y'all have any questions, of course y'all can ask, but that's basically all I want to go for today.
Yeah, I saw this.
Appreciate you.
I saw this video, bro. It was like it was talking about how you could look up like the exchange rates and shit like that, and if one's really low and one's really high, you could like that's like a confirmation or whatever. Do you be using that?
Are you talking about this thing? Did it look like this? Hold on.
Yeah, like same concept. I think I was on a different website, but yeah.
So I mean, it works, but it's the exact same thing as going to Forex Factory and looking at the news. To be honest, it's kind of just the more information you know about the pair that you're trading, the better you're going to be. Obviously, if you know that the U.S. is talking about tapering and Great Britain is talking about making more money, then the dollar is going to be higher valued than the British pound. So that's basically all these things do is it takes kind of a sum of what each pair is doing compared to each other. So as we can see, let's go GU GU for instance. So it says GU's down, so telling us that GU is obviously selling off. So we would assume that the dollar is stronger than GBP, but I would just look at Forex Factory or just do research on your specific pair because these can be wrong because this is just taking technical analysis. This isn't taking account for like everything that's happening, every news event that's going on. This is basically just telling you, okay, as we can see, if we go to GU real quick, what did GU do to end the week? It was down, and this is a 4-hour candle. This is 2 4-hour candlesticks. So obviously it's going to show us, okay, GBUSD is down. But yeah, they do. I mean, you can use them if you want to. If you catch it at like, let's say you see like GU rejecting off of this level, and then you come over to here and you see like GU down 0.2%, and you already see it rejecting, and obviously you can take a sell and just take your gamble on that. But everything else should already be in confluence when you're taking your trade. So this can just be an extra confirmation, or just use it to help you out a little bit on where the direction of the pair is moving.
I got you. Oh yeah, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Of course. But yeah, that basically wraps it up. I'm gonna try and get y'all like 1, maybe 2 live sessions this week, probably during New York. I'm gonna work on how I'm gonna do that. Probably do it like Wednesday, Thursday, since pairs will probably be volatile then. But definitely be on the lookout for that. And then I'll definitely be sending all the trades that we get into this week. Because last week was pretty slow. This week we're gonna turn up. We're gonna be good this week.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and head out. I hope y'all have a great day and y'all ready for markets to open.
All right, man. Thanks.
Yes, sir.